Okay, so I'm going to start off with the obvious, and that's by using a cup. Now I've already melted 1 tablespoon of butter into this mug. So to that we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of white sugar, then 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. If you don't have brown sugar, you can just use white sugar. Then just a little bit of vanilla extract, just like so, and just a pinch of salt. Then next we're going to put in the yolk of 1 egg. Then just using a teaspoon, we're just going to give that a very good mix through. Then we're going to add in 1/4 cup of plain flour, then a couple of tablespoons of chocolate chips. And again, we're just going to mix that through, just until it's well combined. Okay, so once that's all done, we're going to place this into the microwave. We're going to place it in on high for 50 seconds. Okay, so I've just taken it out of the microwave and it's puffed up a little bit. So what we're just going to do is just let this rest for about, say, 5 minutes, just till it cools down. But we don't want to cool down completely because this is best served warm. Okay, so it's cooled down slightly. Now I'm just going to give this a try. Look how nice and fluffy that is just inside. Okay. Oh, that is delicious. That is absolutely delicious. Now it's obviously not a hard cookie, but you have every single flavor there that tastes exactly like a cookie. The only difference is it's softer, fluffier, and I'll tell you what, because of that, this cookie in a cup tastes simply delish. Okay, so we're going to start off with our cup. Now I've already melted 2 tablespoons of butter in this cup. So to that we're just going to add in 1 egg yolk, and a small amount of vanilla extract, just for extra taste. Then 2 tablespoons of white sugar, a tablespoon of brown sugar. If you don't have brown sugar, just replace with white sugar, but brown sugar just gives it a much nicer taste. And I've seen other people do this in one container, then they've mixed it, then put it into the mug. Honestly, that is completely pointless and doubles your wash up. So just mix it all into the mug that you're going to serve it in. Next, we're going to add in 4 tablespoons of flour, then a tablespoon of cocoa powder, and then about 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips. Then using a teaspoon, it's going to give it a very good mix through, just until it's completely combined. Okay, so once done, we're going to place this into the microwave for 45 seconds. And if you find that it's not done after 45 seconds, just put it on for an extra 5 seconds at a time until it's done. Okay, and there we have it, our brownie in a cup. So that literally took me a minute to make and less than a minute in the microwave. So it really does not get any simpler and easier than that. But what matters most is, how does it taste? Let's give one a try. Oh, it's nice and moist too. Oh, that is so good. It is chocolatey, fluffy. As you can see, it looks pretty nice in there. And it is still nice and warm. So even though it only took me 2 minutes to make, it tastes simply delish. So into a cup or a mug of your choice, we're going to add in 3 tablespoons of self-raising flour. If you don't have self-raising flour, just add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder to normal flour. Then 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. If you don't have brown sugar, you can replace it with white sugar. Then 1 tablespoon of white sugar, half of a beaten egg, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1.5 tablespoons of milk, and about a tablespoon of oil.
Any oil?
Any oil? I prefer extra virgin olive oil, but you can also use vegetable oil. Then we're just going to mix that through just so it's well combined. Okay, so we're going to put this in the microwave on high for 2 minutes. And if you find that it's not cooked all the way through properly, just add 10 seconds to the time until it's done. Now look at that. It looks delicious, doesn't it?
Doesn't look like a donut.
I'm glad you said that. Of course it doesn't look like a donut. Why doesn't it look like a donut? Because it doesn't have a hole in the middle. The idea of this recipe is that it tastes like a donut. Okay, so to start off with, into a regular sized cup, we're going to place in a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of peanut butter. And the ingredients are listed in the description. And what we're going to do is place this into the microwave for about, say, 30 seconds at a time, stirring just until it's completely dissolved and mixed well together. Okay, now that it's melted, we're going to place in a tablespoon of brown sugar. Now, if you can't find brown sugar, check out the link below to a video where I show you how to make your own. And to that, 1 tablespoon of white sugar, and a pinch of salt, and a couple of drops of vanilla extract, and 3 tablespoons of regular all-purpose flour, and the yolk of 1 egg. And we're just going to mix it through till it's well combined. Okay, so this is the consistency after. a moist, firm consistency. So we're just going to push it down just so it's nice and even. And as one final optional step, I've got some crushed peanuts here I'm just going to place on top. Now I'm going to place this in the microwave for 45 seconds on high, but all microwaves are different, so if it's undercooked or overcooked, just simply adjust your microwave by 5 seconds. Okay, so I've just taken it out of the microwave and look at that. And it smells delicious. So from start to finish, that took me no more than 3 minutes to make. It is super simple and easy, but let's see what it's like. Ooh, look at that. Okay. Oh, yummy. If you love peanut butter as an ingredient, I guarantee you will love this. It has the firmness and consistency of a cookie, so it's rather dense and not fluffy, which is exactly what you want for a cookie consistency. But when you serve this peanut butter cookie in a cup warm, it tastes simply delish. Okay, so we're going to start off by using a standard size coffee mug. So into that coffee mug, we're going to place in 3 tablespoons of self-raising flour. Now if you don't have self-raising flour, just use 3 tablespoons of normal flour with about a 1/4 tablespoon of baking powder. Then to that, a teaspoon of your favorite coffee powder. Then 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder or drinking chocolate, it's up to you. Then 2 tablespoons of sugar. And just give it a quick mix around so it's well combined. Okay, next I'm going to add in 1 egg that I've just lightly beaten up. Then 2 tablespoons of milk. Then 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And you can use vegetable oil if you like. And then finally 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now mix that through until it's well combined. Now not all the microwaves are the same, you may need to add or reduce the time by 5 seconds depending on how it cooks. But basically once it's all wibbly wobbly timey wimey just like this, you can place it into the microwave for about 90 seconds and then it should be ready. Okay, so I've just taken it out of the microwave and look at that. It has risen perfectly. Now as one final step, I'm just going to get some icing sugar. I'm just going to give it a light dust just on top. Okay, so I've let this cool down just for about a minute or two. Now it's time to give it a try. Oh, look at that. Look how nice and fluffy it is just inside. And it smells delicious too. It really, really does. Oh, that is fantastic. That is a perfect combination of chocolate and coffee. If you love coffee, if you love chocolate, then you should not pass up to give this a go because it is just fantastic. It really, really is. It is lovely and fluffy and warm, and it is super simple and easy to make. Of course, you put all that together with the coffee and the chocolate taste. This mug recipe tastes simply delish. Okay, so we're going to start this off by into a mixing bowl we're going to place in our softened cream cheese, then our icing sugar or powdered sugar. And don't forget, the ingredients are in the description. Now using a hand mixer or a stand mixer, we're going to beat this up until it's nice and smooth. Okay, so I've got half of our mixture right here. So to that we're just going to add just a couple of drops of yellow food coloring. And just give that a good mix through. And now for the other half of the mixture, we're going to turn it into an orange color. Now, if you happen to be like me, who couldn't find an orange color, there is a simple way around it. We're going to add equal parts of red and yellow. Now, when you're mixing it, if you find that it's too dark, just add some more yellow. And if you find it's too light, just add some red, just so you get to that right consistency. Okay, so once all our colours are mixed, we're going to grab our glasses, and first we're going to place in our yellow cream cheese mixture, and then our orange cream cheese mixture just on top. Okay, so once it's all done like this, we're going to place this into the fridge for about half an hour just to completely set. Okay, so I've just taken our cups out of the fridge, and I've just whipped up some cream, and we're just going to put that on top. And finally, we're going to top these candy corn cheesecakes off with, guess what? Some candy corns. Now look at these. Don't they look yum yum? You have the cheesecake version of the candy corn, and of course you got a couple of candy corns put on top. So these are very simple and easy to make, and they look absolutely delicious. But let's give one a try. Oh yum. That mixture of the sweetened cream cheese topped off with that cream, and don't forget an extra candy corn. And you put all that into a colourful little package. These candy corn cheesecakes taste simply ghoulish. Okay, so we're going to start off with our bacon. Now we're going to do 1 slice per mug. So we're just going to slightly cook the bacon. We don't want to overcook it because it's still going to go in the oven. So cook it for about, say, 30 seconds to a minute on each side. Oh, yummy. Look at that bacon. Oh, yeah. Okay, so next we're going to use a mug. Now this is a large super mug. If you can't find them, you can also use a ramekin. They work just as well. Now I'm using brown bread. You can use white bread or multigrain bread if you like, or any type. It really is up to you. So what I'm going to do is just cut the crust off. And I'm just going to cut that in half again. And we're just going to layer it inside our mug, just like so. Okay, next we're going to grab our bacon and we're just going to layer it or move it, have it just so it's on the outside, just like that, or like a nice border I should say. And a cheese of your choice. I'm just going to use some tasty shredded cheese. And finally, 1 egg. I'm just going to crack that just on top. Okay, now that we're done, we're going to place this into a preheated oven at 220 degrees Celsius or about 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 15 minutes. Just until the egg is cooked to your liking. Okay, so I've just taken it out of the oven. Now be very careful, the mug is going to be hot for a couple of minutes, so just let it cool down. But while it's cooling down, as an optional extra, I'm going to add some salt and a bit of pepper. But there's nothing stopping me from giving it a try right now. So the egg's cooked just how I like it. Nice cheese base on top of the bread. There we go. Okay, let's give this a try. Now that is a fantastic bacon and egg taste. So it really is a complete, while not the most healthiest, breakfast that you can have, and it only took me a few minutes to make. I'll be the first to admit it's not the most healthiest, but it definitely does taste fantastic. And it took me just a couple of minutes to prepare, and about 10 to 15 minutes in the oven, and it was done. And as easy as this breakfast in a mug was, I can say with all my heart, it tastes simply delish. Okay, so to start this off with, we're going to use some low-fat ricotta. Now, if you can't find ricotta where you're from, I'll check the link down below and I'll show you how to make your own. So what we're going to do now is, you can do this in a food processor or a mixer. So whichever way you do it, we want to mix it until it's all broken up and nice and smooth. Okay, now that it's nice and smooth, we're going to pour in our low-fat custard. And as always, the list of ingredients are down in the description. And we're just going to let that mix through for about a minute or so, just until it's well combined. And there we have it, nice and smooth texture. Okay, so next I've got the pulp of 2 mangoes. Just going to place that right in there. And again, you don't have to do this in a mixer, you can also do it in a blender or a food processor. But what we want to do is, we want to mix it until it comes up to a nice puree. And you can use canned mangoes if you like, but I highly recommend use fresh ones. Only use canned if you can't find fresh ones in your area or if they're out of season. And there we have it, and look at that, yummy. Okay, so once that's pureed like that, we want to remove about, say, 1/4 of it. Not too much, just enough that we're going to put on top of our cups. Now that we've removed 1/4 of our puree, we're going to add our cheese mixture back into the bowl. And we're not going to mix it too much, we just want to fold it through. We want to be able to see the difference between the cheese mixture and the mango. We don't want it completely mixed. Okay, so I've got one of our cups here, and simply what I'm going to do is just spoon some of our mixture inside the cup till it's about, say, 3/4 of the way full. And once we've got it up to the right level, we're just going to get some of our puree and we're just going to dress up the top of it just with our mango puree. And there we have it, an incredibly simple and easy, yet this is going to be one tasty cheesecake in a mug. So altogether, I'd say I probably spent no more than 5 minutes putting these together. And they are best served chilled, so once you make them, put them back in the fridge for a couple of hours until they're ready to be served. But enough of that, let's try one right now. Oh, I love mango. Oh my. Oh, that is just so creamy. So it's obviously not a firm cheesecake, and that's fine because I wasn't going for that. It's more of a creamy, delicious dessert. It is that type of recipe where you can just slowly eat it and then really enjoy those cheese and mango flavors. And this is a dessert where I can truly say they taste simply delish. Okay, so we're going to start by using the obvious, and that's a mug. So into the mug we're going to place in 1 egg, then 2 tablespoons of strawberry yogurt, then a tablespoon of vegetable oil, and just a dash of vanilla extract. And using a fork we're just going to give that a very good mix, just till everything is nicely combined. Okay, so next we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of sugar, and finally 5 tablespoons of self-raising flour. And again, we're just going to mix that through until it's well combined. Okay, so now we're going to place this into the microwave on high for 1 to 2 minutes. Just keep an eye on it in case it over rises. And it'll be ready once you stick a skewer in there and it comes out clean. Okay, so I've just taken it out of the microwave. Now as one final step, I'm just going to add a little bit of whipped cream and some freshly cut strawberries. And there we have it. Now, literally took me about a minute to make and about 3 minutes in the microwave. But let's exterminate this recipe. Oh, that is so good. As you can see, just inside is all nice and fluffy. But when you top it off with some fresh strawberries and that lovely whipped cream, this wibbly wobbly, timey wimey strawberry cake in a mug tastes simply delish. Now, of course, this recipe depends on the size of the mug that you're going to use. But for this standard size mug, I'm going to place in 3 eggs, and a dash of milk, a small sprinkle of low-fat cheese, followed by a pinch of salt and pepper. Next, using a fork, we're just going to whisk it up until everything's combined and the egg is completely broken up. Next, we're going to place this into the microwave on high for 45 seconds, and then we're going to take it out of the microwave and give it a good mix. Okay, so it's been 45 seconds, so we're just going to give it another mix, and we're going to place it back in the microwave for another 30 seconds. Now, every microwave is different, so if it's not done after the first 30 seconds, put it in for another 10 seconds at a time, and give it a mix each time until it's ready. And there we have it, our lovely scrambled eggs in a mug. Now I've just added some chives on top for the extra flavour. And now it's time to exterminate this recipe. It has come up nice and fluffy. It is still slightly moist. You don't want it too dry. You just want it just right. But with that added milk, the cheese, salt and pepper, and the chives, this scrambled eggs in a mug tastes simply delish. Now we're going to start this off with a mug. Now into this mug I'm going to place in 1 lightly beaten egg, then to that a dash of vanilla extract, 3 tablespoons of sugar, followed by 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Now just give it a good mix around until it's completely combined. Okay, so once it's all combined, just simply transfer it into a smaller mug, just like so. Now the reason why I don't mix it in a smaller mug, it just makes it far easier to mix in a larger mug. Okay, so all we have to do now is place this in the microwave for 1 minute. And there we have it, our lovely, delicious, flourless chocolate cake in a mug. So it just took a few ingredients and it's done and it's looking delicious. But that doesn't mean anything unless it tastes good, so let's give it a try. Now look how fluffy that is. Yum, yum. Oh, that is so good. That is really, really good. You must give this a go. It actually has the texture of still having flour in it, but without the flour. And honestly, when you have this, you're probably going to want to have another one because it tastes that good. But even though it has no flour in it, I guarantee if you make this you're going to think it tastes simply delish. Now I'm going to start this simple recipe off with some pre-bought tubs of chocolate custard. Now they have different names in different countries. In Australia this one's called Yogo, but they could be called something else. Basically just tubs of chocolate custard. So just take all the lids off because you won't be needing those. Feel free to lick the lids of course. Yum. Next I have some chocolate cookies. Now we just want to smash them until they're nice and fine. So the key is to think of someone who has really got under your skin lately and go for it. Oh yeah. Take that, and that, and that. So this is going to act as our dirt, so just sprinkle it on top of our custard cups. So next you can search on eBay or a party shop and just find something Halloweeny. I just have this little ghost. So it's like the ghost coming up from the dirt in a graveyard. Now there we have an incredibly simple and easy way to turn an everyday item into something a little bit more special for Halloween. It literally took me about 2 minutes to prepare, and in that time I was able to spruce up something that is rather boring into something Halloweeny. And it may be simple, but when you mix that chocolate custard with that crunchy cookie, it's going to taste simply ghoulish. Now we're going to start off with the healthiest part of this recipe, and that's our yogurt. Now I'm going to use non-fat vanilla yogurt, but feel free to use any flavour that you like, just try and make it a white one. And for effect, I'm going to add just a couple of drops of green food colouring to give that monster look, and just mix it in nice and well. Okay, once that's mixed through, we're just going to set that aside for a minute. Now I'm going to use a glass, but you can also use a plastic cup, that's really up to you. So what I'm going to do is, just with a removable marker, I'm going to place on some eyes, and a nose, and our mouth. But you know, I'm not the best when it comes to drawing or designs. I'm the first to admit that. So do any design that you like. Anything scary, any type of monster, it's completely up to you. So I'm just going to spoon our yogurt mixture into our cup. And last but not least, for the hair, I'm going to use a crushed up cookie. Now, if you're thinking a cookie's not very healthy, but honestly, it's like half a cookie. You're not going to get fat. So just sprinkle that on top. And there we have some delicious monster cups. Now they literally take about a minute to prepare, and you turn a boring old yogurt into something special and Halloweeny. You can choose not to use a cookie on top if you like, but I'm still going to call it healthy because it's only half a cookie. It's not that unhealthy considering 99% of this is yogurt, which is non-fat. But whether you use a cookie or not, these monster cups are still going to taste simply ghoulish. Now I have a packet of jelly here, or in the States it's called Jello, and this is a strawberry flavoured one. Now onto that I'm going to add 250 ml of boiling hot water, and give it a good mix until all the sugar crystals have dissolved. Now that our sugar crystals have dissolved, I'm going to add in 200 ml of cold water. Next, once that's all mixed through, I'm going to add in a tablespoon of gelatin, and just let that sit there and soften in the mixture for just a couple of minutes. And just keep in mind there's already gelatin in the jelly mixture, you just add in a bit more for that extra firmness. Next, into a standard glass, I'm just going to pour in some of our jelly mixture, say about a quarter of the way up. And into that I'm going to add in half a strawberry. Now there's no special tools, just use whatever you can find around the house. I'm using a loaf pan with a set of tongs, and I'm going to use that to balance the glass so it's sitting at a slight angle. Now once you've done all your glasses, I'm going to place this into the fridge for about half an hour to give it a chance to set. Okay, so once done, you should have a quarter of your jelly mixture left over, so we're going to place that to the side for a minute. And into a separate bowl, we're going to place in about a cup of cream. Now just use any cream that is good for whipping. And we're just going to whip this cream up until we get to the soft peak stage. Okay, so as you can see, we now have soft peaks. So now I'm just going to pour in the remaining jelly mixture And we're just going to fold it through just for about a minute or so. Try not to stir it too much because you still want to keep that air in there. So just keep on folding it through until it's well combined. Okay, so just taking our jelly cup out of the fridge. As you can see, it is nicely set. So now I'm just going to carefully pour in our cream mixture. And all we have to do now is place this into the fridge for a few hours to give it a chance to set. Okay, now that they're set, I'm just going to add some more cream to the top. And a strawberry. And there we have some delicious and effective parfait cups. So of course you can have it so it's just flat out, but by tilting the cup while it's setting, it really does take it up to the next level presentation wise. And especially when you're mixing that lovely jelly with that creamy cream, it really does bring the texture up a notch. And because it's also strawberry mixed through, with some whipped cream on top and another strawberry, these little dessert cups truly taste simply delish. Now I'm going to start this by preparing our gelatine mixture. Of course, if you can't have gelatine, you can also use agar. So in a little cup here, I have about 1.5 tablespoons of cold water. I'm just going to sprinkle on a teaspoon of gelatine. And basically just let that sit there for about 5 minutes just to give it a chance to soften up and soak in all that water. Okay, so next I have a pot on the stove on a low heat. So to that I'm going to add in 1 cup of cream and about 25 grams of sugar. We're just going to stir it over this low heat until the cream has started to warm up and the sugar is completely dissolved. Okay, so as you can see, the sugar is now dissolved. So next I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of Nutella. And we're going to stir that through until everything is well combined. Okay, so as you can see, the Nutella is nicely dissolved. So lastly, and most importantly, which keeps the firmness, we're going to add in our gelatine. And just simply mix it through until everything is well combined. And once it's all combined, just simply take it straight off the heat. Okay, so what I've got is 2 glasses here, and I've got them in a container so I can keep them at an angle, just like so. This will help with the effect. You don't have to do it this way, you can have them flat if you like. So all you have to do is just pour in some of your mixture up until, say, the desired amount, which is about 1/4 of the way, or halfway. So once you've got up to the level that you want, simply place them in the fridge for a good hour to give them a chance to set. So all the gelatin is softening up. I have a pot on the stove on a low heat, and we're going to add in another cup of cream. And to that, 25 grams of sugar. And just mix it through until the sugar is dissolved. Okay, so the sugar is dissolved nicely. So next I'm going to use some vanilla bean paste. Now this is concentrated vanilla using real vanilla beans, but it gives a fantastic taste. And it still contains the seeds, which is even better. So I'm going to add about a teaspoon worth right in. And we're going to mix that through until it's all combined. And when you mix it, you'll actually see all the little seeds mixing in with it. So it not only tastes and smells fantastic, it also gives it that good vanilla look with those seeds. Okay, so once that's mixed in, lastly we're going to add in our gelatine. And again, we're just going to mix that through until it's just combined, then we'll just take it straight off the heat. So once we take it off the heat, we're going to cover it up and let it cool down to room temperature before we pour it into our cups. I've just taken our cups out of the fridge, and as you can see, they are nicely set. So what I'm going to do now is just simply place them upside down. And once your mixture is completely cooled down, I can't stress that enough, you can then pour it into your cups. If it's not cooled down, it's going to melt the other mixture, and it's going to be a disaster. Then once done, just place them back into the fridge for a full 2 hours to completely set. And there we have some absolutely delicious, absolutely creamy Nutella Panna Cotta. Now I cannot describe just how creamy and lovely these dessert cups are. It's a mixture of really creamy Nutella, and the other side is a really creamy, strong but lovely vanilla taste. I cannot describe it. It is fantastic. This truly is one of those lovely creamy recipes. I guarantee you're not going to make just once, you're going to make it more often, sooner than later. But the best thing about this is that they taste absolutely simply delish. Now we're going to start off with a shot of coffee. Now you can use espresso coffee or instant coffee. Just whatever you have on hand will do just fine. So now into a mug, I'm going to pour in our shot of espresso. And in equal parts, I'm going to add some milk and some fresh eggnog. Now if you can't buy eggnog in your area, check out my link down below on my video on how to make your own at home. And we're just going to top it off with some whipped cream and some nutmeg. Yum yum. And there we have a very simple and easy eggnog latte. I can tell you what, this is actually incredibly delicious. And assuming you're using a good coffee, don't even bother adding any sugar, because the eggnog alone is already sweet enough. But when you add some lovely nutmeg on top, this eggnog latte, without sugar, tastes simply delish. So we're going to start this off with the obvious, and that's a mug. Now I'm going to use a soup mug for this, so it's a bit bigger. So to that I'm going to place in a 1/4 cup of self-raising flour, or you can use normal flour with a pinch of baking powder. Then to that a 1/4 cup of cornmeal or polenta, followed by a pinch of salt for flavour. Then 1 egg white, a 1/4 cup of milk, 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and for some sweetness, about a tablespoon of honey. And now all we have to do is give it a good mix until it's well combined. Okay, so once mixed, we're going to place this into the microwave. Now we're going to place it in for about 2 minutes, but keep in mind, every microwave is different. Some could take 90 seconds, some could take 3 minutes. So just keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't spill over the cup. Now if you want to know how to make a normal cornbread, I'll leave a link down below to my video on how to make your own cornbread at home. This one's just a very simple one that you can just whip up in just a few minutes. And it tastes fantastic if you just drizzle a little bit of extra honey on top. But either way, this cornbread in a mug tastes simply delish. Now to start this off into a standard size coffee mug, I'm going to place in 2 tablespoons of butter, followed by a 1/4 cup of milk. And we're going to place this into the microwave for about 30 seconds or so until the butter's melted and it's completely combined. And now that it's melted, next I'm going to place in 6 tablespoons of self-raising flour, or the same amount in plain flour, but just add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Then to that 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, to enhance the flavour just a pinch of salt, and finally a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And with a fork give it a good mix until it's well combined. Now once mixed, on top just sprinkle a little bit of sugar and a little bit more cinnamon. And we're going to place this into the microwave on high for a good 2 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. If it starts to rise up too much, stop the microwave, let it go down a little bit, then keep on going until you reach the 2 minute mark. And there we have a very simple, very yummy Snickerdoodle in a mug. So it really is just a few ingredients, and it's all done in the one vessel, which is our mug. So cleanup is definitely a cinch. And just look at how fluffy that is. That just looks delicious, doesn't it? So fluffy, so yummy. Look at that. So it literally takes just a few minutes to make. It's an awesome little treat to have. And the best part is, when you serve it into a Star Wars mug like this, it's going to taste simply delish. Now we're going to start off with the obvious, and that's a mug. So into the mug, first of all, I'm going to place in 4 tablespoons of self-raising flour, followed by 2 tablespoons of sugar, then 2 tablespoons of good quality cocoa powder, then 1 beaten egg, 3 tablespoons of milk, 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and finally 1 tablespoon of chocolate chips. And give it a good mix until it's well combined. All we have to do is just simply place it into the microwave, and we're going to microwave it on high for 3 minutes. Now if you find that it starts to rise before it's finished, like so, just simply open the door, just let it drop just for a few seconds, and then continue on with our cooking process. You might have to do this a couple of times just to prevent it from overflowing from the cup. But trust me, the end product will be worth it. Okay, so it's out of the microwave after 3 minutes and it has settled down perfectly. And look how bouncy and fluffy that is. So I'm just going to finish it off just with a sprinkle of some powdered sugar and a strawberry. And there we have an incredibly simple and easy and fast chocolate cake in a mug. So it literally took me 4 to 5 minutes from start to finish. So imagine that, mixing the chocolate cake together, cooking it and eating it within 5 minutes. And just because it's done in a microwave and not in the oven, doesn't take the taste away, because trust me, it tastes simply delish. Now this is incredibly simple. It literally takes just about a minute or two to put together. So into a mug, I'm going to place in a 1/4 cup of self-raising flour, or regular flour, but I'd say a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of sugar, followed by a 1/4 cup of milk, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And give it a good mix to combine all the ingredients. And once mixed, finally we're going to add in a 1/4 cup of blueberries, frozen or fresh, that's completely up to you. So just give those a quick mix in, 2 seconds, that's all it takes, and it's done and ready. Okay, so now we're going to place this into the microwave, and we're going to place it in for about 1.5 to 2 minutes on high. Now the key is, if you find it's rising up too much and it's going to overfill, just stop the microwave, let it settle back down again, and then just continue on and just keep on doing that until it's cooked all the way through. So it took me about a minute to prepare, 2 minutes in the microwave, and there we have a very easy, very delicious blueberry muffin in a mug. And as you can see, it is nice and bouncy, and it's just absolutely delicious. And you can have it just like a normal muffin, but preferably have it with a teaspoon. You can have it warm, or you can let it cool down, that is completely up to you, but either way, it's going to taste simply delish. So it is so quick, so simple, this is easy to try any time of the day, and I know that you will love it. So thank you for watching this episode of Todd's Kitchen. As always, I'll leave a list of ingredients down below, as well as links to my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Home Handy Hints channel. And please do me a massive favour by giving this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for another delicious recipe.